So how did you start as Media Monix?
Well, I started at Illinois Media School in 2018 in October. They immediately put me on a show called Heating Up Sports. And so 30 minutes into the show, they finally asked me what my name was. And I was like, Anthony. They're like, Anthony, what's your last name? I'm like, Monix. For real? Yeah. Media Monix. And they came up with it right there on the spot. I'm like, get that shit out of here. Whatever. But we kept doing the show. Later on that day, I was with a female that I was dealing with at the time. And she was like, how was your radio show? I'm like, that shit went good. They told me to come back. She was like, look at you, boy, Media Monix. And both of them said that shit the same day. And that shit just stuck. I hated it. But eventually it stuck.
And now you love it.
Nope.
You still don't love it?
No, I still don't love it, but it's here
so
now.
So what would you call your name then? Or if you could change
my
it.
rap name used to be Tony Hustle. I thought I'd go with that, but
okay.
Yeah.
Media Monix.
Yeah, Media Monix it is.
Yeah.
I see mine like that in the back.
Okay, so besides R&B and hip hop, what do you listen to?
Reggae.
Okay.
Lots of reggae. Dance hall. I also like Tanya Stevens, Bob Marley, and the way it was Toots and the Maytals. Those are my favorites.
Okay. Do you like to debate?
Love.
I knew that.
And I'm always right, let me tell you.
Oh.
Let me tell you.
Okay. What is your greatest accomplishment?
Being able to raise my bonus children and having my 9-year-old. Best shit I ever did in my life. Okay. That's the one thing I think I did right. Like, undebatable.
So what made you want to get into media?
So I did this podcast on the film crew when I first started doing podcasts back when I just had a laptop and 2 USB mics. And I watched the movie and I was asking the guy, like, how the fuck did you know how to do that? Like, that shit was magic to me. He was like, man, I went to Illinois Center for Broadcasting. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Man, I went there, they taught us how to do this shit. A lot of radio, but they taught us some film too, and I just picked it up. And when I retired from the Navy about a year later. And I went out to Cali for like 5 months, but I had to come back home. So I came back home trying to continue the school I was at, because it was University of Phoenix. They had on-campus shit, but they moved it from Chicago at that time. But they was getting ready to close the campus down that was downtown. And so I thought about Illinois Center for Broadcasting, like let me do something different. I only got my threshold for going to college courses ain't that high. Like I get bored after a while and I won't do the work. But so I tried to call Illinois Center for Broadcasting, but Illinois Media School came up. I'm like, okay, let's see what they talking about. And it happened to be them. They changed the name. And so, I went there, got enrolled or whatever. Of course, everybody always say I got a radio voice. They hadn't heard D. Smith yet, but apparently. But and then I got into it that way. I really just wanted to learn how to cut my podcast in pieces, because they would be like 2 hours, and I figured that shit out in 30 seconds of being at the school. It was literally hold control and press K, and whatever the line added to cut it. So I'm panicking now because I'm like, what? I paid 18 grand for this shit, but I stayed, and I eventually did my first. That week we did our first commercial. I did my first commercial, like the voiceover, got the film shots and all that. And at that point, I fell in love with content creation.
That's how you do all that stuff on Instagram with disappearing.
Yeah. That's how I got into that.
Stuff in the car.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your first video that you ever created?
That commercial. It was for the school. After that, though, my first video, I put together a news spot. That was for school. So we did a couple of interviews, and I put the news package together. It was my first time really doing B-roll and stuff like that. But the first one I did outside of school was for a nutrition shop called Focus Nutrition. I forget what's one of them nutrition pyramid joints that's out there. It may not be a pyramid. Herbalife. They were Herbalife, but Herbalife be setting up stores and shit. So they was one of the stores. Focus Nutrition.
So who has the biggest impact on you?
As far as
just this whole media.
It's really a collective. Ain't no one person. I'll say Shy Bliss took the most chances on me, because I kind of dipped out of here out of nowhere, and he still held my spot for me. So I would say Shy Bliss, because he gave me the most chances. Yeah.
So, Is support only financial?
Nah. It's I've never ever in my life looked for financial support for any of my endeavors. It kind of fell upon me a couple of times, but I never like required it. I never required any support. I always thought that I don't need nobody. I don't need especially my girl, right? I don't need my girl to support me. I just need her to be there and have my food ready type shit. But I realized that's not true. I realized that shit recently because it's like just kind of dealing with not being myself within what I'm doing. It showed me how much I need somebody to fuck with what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I learned that lesson recently.
So name something about you that people don't know.
I play the flute.
Okay.
No, I'm lying. Let me see.
You're a liar.
Yeah, right. I didn't know I was a liar. Thank you.
Well.
Something people don't know. I went to seminary school.
Okay.
I did that shit for like 6 months. I was on my way to being a pastor in Kojic Church. Not that Kojic Church requires seminary school, but I just did that to like strengthen whatever I had going on.
Wow.
That shit was food up.
That is interesting. Well, what is your heaven and your hell of being in this industry?
Hell, I ain't gonna lie. It's the money. Dealing with money, worried about money.
Okay.
I feel like it taints the art. And I understand we gotta get paid for our time, but I feel like we're selling our self-expression. And it's like it's a fine lesson, thin line. You know what I'm saying? The heaven is being able to create. You could do whatever you want to do with content creation. You can be Superman tomorrow if that's what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So being able to create, that's the heaven.
Well, that's concluding our time. Toodles.
I think that was decent.